Hello, NFL fans. Welcome to another Saturday edition of Jackson Pigskins. This is Tom Pollen running the show on my own today. Dave is visiting relatives up north in Rhode Island, so he's not going to be here today. But we're going to keep you entertained. We're going to keep you going. We have a lot to talk about. We had Desmond Ritter's first start last week, and we'll evaluate that. Look at what he did, what he didn't do, and see what we have coming up against the Ravens this afternoon today. And actually, we're going to try and get you out of the show right away today, so you can get to the TV, get to the kickoff of the Atlanta Falcons at the Baltimore Ravens this afternoon. We got 11 Saturday games, NFL games this afternoon. So it's a lot to look at. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we get into all that, want to go into the sponsor of the show, Prize Picks. And I'm going to have a few prize picks for you a little bit later. Prize Picks, if you sign up, use the code ASU for Atlanta Sports Unlimited, and you will get a match of $100, up to $100 of your first deposit. Deposit $100, get a free $100 to play with. So, and there is some good props. There are usually some good props to look at during the week. And you don't have to just, if you have an interest in other sports, Prime Picks can take care of that for you. They cover the NBA. You can do player props on NHL. But it's still football season. We're getting into the stretch run. Take a look at the wild card picture a little bit today. So, again, use promo code ASU and enjoy Prize Picks. So, we're going to get into some of the Desmond Ritter results from last week. And I know Atlanta fans were waiting all year, waiting for most of the year after it became fairly obvious that Marcus Mariota was not the man to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, that they really weren't going to go anywhere with Mariota. And we saw Mariota's weaknesses laid bare, and we also saw that he just was not the future of the Atlanta Falcons. And I think a lot of Atlanta sports fans saw that. Atlanta Falcons fans saw that. And we're ready for the Desmond Ritter debut. Now, Dave and I have been talking a while before about getting Ritter, getting him started against a weaker defense. That's why we were both kind of targeting the game against the Bears for Desmond Ritter to make his debut, because the Bears do not have the defense. This is not your regular Bears defense where they're tough against the run, tough against the pass, tough to move the ball against, a lot of turnovers. This Bear defense is not getting to the quarterback. This would have been a perfect start for Desmond Ritter. But, Arthur Smith decided to run two more Mariota. Yeah, technically the Falcons were still in the playoff hunt. Realistically, they weren't. And I think we all saw that at the time. But, we will. There's not much you can do. The decision was made. So, as far as his first NFL start, what we saw last week, accuracy was a big problem. Bigger problem than I expected. He got off to a slow start. I watched all 22 tape on film on the game last week, and kind of get a look at Ritter and what he was looking at downfield. What was his blocking like? Blocking wasn't spectacular. This Falcons offensive line is much better as a run blocking line than they are as a pass blocking line. Very good run blocking line, as you saw with Tyler Algier getting over 100 yards for the first time in his NFL career. And want to give the shout out and congratulations to Tyler Algier, getting that 100 yard, breaking that 100-yard barrier. Ran tough, was one of the reasons why the Falcons were still in that game at the end. But again, accuracy for Ritter. He tried to go deep on his first throw. And this is kind of what I was expecting out of the Falcons with Zaccheaus as receiver, using him to try and stretch the field a little bit. And the Falcons did try to do that on the first play last week. But Zaccheaus had no separation. Zaccheaus was targeted 3 times. Got no separation at any time during his, when he was targeted. It was very rough to see what Ritter had to work with. And I think that's another problem. One of the advantages to Ritter is, and I've been seeing this in a lot of places, that Ritter threw no interceptions. However, he almost threw 2. Alontae Taylor had a hell of a game last week against the Falcons with the Saints. And Ritter missed an early read and almost threw a pass right into it was probably too perfect to pass. Alontae Taylor didn't expect that pass to come right at him. And he dropped the ball. And the Falcons were able to come away with a field goal, but that was an awful read, awful throw by Ritter. Almost, was a devastating throw by Ritter because, you come away with no points. You're finally moving the ball. You're finally getting the ball downfield, and then come away with no points. It can be disappointing, especially since the Saints got off to 2 very quick touchdowns. And it really looked like a blowout for a while, the way the Saints got off to their fast start. But I do want to give some credit to the Falcons defense because they came together. They played a tough game after those first 2 drives, recovered a fumble. When the Saints did make another deep drive, they're the ones who kept the Falcons in that game. Despite Ritter's numbers for his debut, let me call it up here real quick. Not very good. Again, not very good as far as accuracy. And we were expecting to see a little bit better accuracy out of him. Ritter threw 13 times, threw 26 times, 13 completions, 97 yards. So we're expecting a little bit better out of Ritter this week. We've got to see 97 plus yards. However, we will get into the Baltimore Ravens. Excuse me. We will get into the Baltimore Ravens game coming up at 1:00 Atlanta time. And it's going to be a rough one for the Falcons this afternoon. 59.3 passer rating, 6 rushes for 38 yards. One thing Ritter still does well, showed that he can do on the NFL level. He can take the ball. He can run with the ball. So very encouraging there. He was able to get himself out of some trouble using his legs, much like Mariota. But Mariota, again, we had seen that he's slow making decisions, was not accurate himself. So it's not like this was something new for a Falcons quarterback to watch him miss throws, throw late, throw into coverage. It was not a surprise. But in probably Ritter's best throw came in the final 2 minutes, is throw to Drake London. And out of Ritter's attempts, he had 11 targets to Drake London. So, that was the guy he was leaning on all day. London found a seam in between the Saints, two defensive backs playing back, one defensive back at front, and London found the seam. Ritter threw the ball perfect, right on time, and was probably his best throw of the day because he caught Drake London in stride, he was on time with the pass, threaded it perfectly between those three defenders, and then London just I don't know what happened. The ball got punched out, and I think the kid's got to do a lot better as far as ball security, especially in that situation. Cost Falcons a chance to either, excuse me, it's an early morning today, but cost the Falcons a chance to, at least try to get the tying field goal. And with Young Wei Koo, that you do have a good chance at getting a tying field goal. You don't. He's got a leg. He's got accuracy. So Falcons will get if that pass. If London holds on to that ball, Falcons are in a lot better shape to try and get that game tying field goal, or they still had time to drive and try and get the ball downfield for the touchdown. So, but one of the things that also I think got exposed this last week against the Saints is the Falcons really need help at receiver still. They miss Kyle Pitts. It's terrible that they don't have Pitts available. The fact that, as I say, London was targeted 11 times. 1/3 of close to 1/2 of Ritter's passing targets were Drake London. Let's see who else. I'll call that up again real quick. I'm going to call up last week's stats because I think it's something important to look at. The fact that again, Ritter throws 26 times. Drake London is targeted 11. Michael Pruitt is targeted 3 times, made 2 catches, which is, a good thing to see. Damiere Byrd was only targeted once. Zacchaeus was targeted 3 times. And as I say, no separation, no chance of making a reception. And that's another one of those passes is another pass that Alontae Taylor almost picked off. If Alontae Taylor had stayed in bounds when he made the catch, he actually made the catch, made the interception, but didn't stay in bounds. So the Falcons retained possession. And again, that was should have been Ritter's second interception. So, but the fact that you have nobody else who can play with Drake London, who's a complimentary receiver, nobody else that your opponent feels that they have to take seriously. There's just nobody else out there. Because what are you going to do? You play Kadero Hodge. He only played 13% of offensive snaps last week. So obviously Arthur Smith does not have any faith in Hodge being out there. I don't think he has a lot of faith in Damiere Byrd, but at this point, you don't have many choices. So with this kind of receive, if you want to do Desmond Ritter any favors, and this kid really needs some favors, I'm of the opinion you got Tyler Algier, who is running outstanding as a back this year, really coming into his own. Came into his own against the Saints, and just keeps his wheels moving, keeps running, keeps driving. You got to love that out of a running back. But go ahead and leave Algier as far as your key runner. I know Caleb Huntley is injured, but you still got Algier. Let Cordero Patterson line up at wide receiver again. You have nobody else. Excuse me. I'm sorry, folks. It's been a rough week. It's been that kind of week. Now, I know you're getting cold temperatures down there in Atlanta, and that is not helping things here. So, but to me, and I want to see what you have to say about it, there's just nobody else right now. London he's the only guy that Smith and Ritter have faith in. I think you need to line up Cordero Patterson more at receiver and as a complementary receiver to Drake London and give Ritter another target, somebody that the defense has to respect, because they're not respecting anybody else on that Falcons offense. Algier is not a back who's going to go out into the flat and make many catches. Probably one of the holes in his game that he's going to have to improve on as we move forward. But right now, you've got to give Ritter another target, another reliable target. And I know Patterson is doing better as a running back, doing better as a back, kind of targeting him out of the backfield. And even then, the Falcons didn't do that much last week. They only targeted Patterson out of the backfield 3 times. You have to make better use of Cordero Patterson in this offense without Kyle Pitts being around. You have to, because you don't have any other tight ends who are going to take the pressure off of Kyle Pitts, who are going to attract the same attention that Kyle Pitts does. Michael Pruitt is probably the best option that you're going to have. Parker Hesse is out there to be a blocker. So, that's one of the problems we're looking at. I think you have to put Patterson out there. You have to get Patterson into the patterns, because this season, Drake London isn't going to survive being targeted 11 times a game, targeted 12, 13 times a game. It's not going to happen. And you're going to end up with another rookie injury, another wide receiver injury, if you keep trying to force the ball into Drake London all day. So I think one of the things, we saw some disappointing things out of Ritter that he'll fix. This is one game. Don't start jumping off the Desmond Ritter bandwagon after one game. It's his first time that he's had a chance to see the game at NFL speed. He admitted that later. He admitted that he could see that he was probably getting too fidgety in the pocket too early, trying to do things before he had to, before he could make a complete read, trying to force the action a little bit. And that's to be expected out of a first-year quarterback. And the fact that this is Ritter's first start. And he hasn't had any other opportunities this year. He should have, but he didn't. So let's not play too much into what Ritter accomplished or didn't accomplish last week. Because it's rough for a rookie to step in, make his first NFL start. The Saints do have a decent defense. They are, they're not as strong as they usually are defensively, but it's a challenging defense. So, it's it was a rough opening for Ritter, and let's see what he can do today against the Baltimore Ravens. Hopefully, we see some improvement. Hopefully, we see Ritter scanning the field a little bit better. But again, he doesn't have, excuse me, as far as the nose running, but we've been in single digits temperature-wise here in Chicago all week, so all weekend. So it's been a little rough to carry through, and you know, it's Christmas. You know, red nose. So you know, not much we can do. So I do apologize for, you know, being a little rough as far as voice and a little nasally, but it's been a rough week. So, and a rough weekend weather-wise, which I know it has been in Atlanta too. But what do we have today coming up? Again, we do have the Baltimore Ravens. Falcons are, let's see, the Ravens are favored by 6.5 against Atlanta, probably for good reason. Even without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are going to not be seeing Lamar Jackson this week. They will not be seeing Calais Campbell either, as far as defensive ends. So a big pass rushing threat for the Ravens is going to be out. Hurt himself last week against the Browns in the Ravens lost 13-3 to the Browns. And so the Falcons are going to end up seeing Tyler Huntley this game. Huntley this will be his third start of the season. Completed 52 out of 74 attempts. So Huntley's been doing fairly well. Not throwing the ball deep. Tyler Huntley is at 4.8 net yards per attempt. So a lot of short, a lot of dink and dunk for Tyler Huntley. But a lot of receivers that a lot of trouble on offense besides Huntley that the Falcons are going to have to look at, between Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins at running back, Kenyon Drake at running back. That's a three-headed monster running back that the Ravens can throw at you. They're always going to have a fresh runner on the field. So that's going to be a very challenging issue for the Falcons coming up against the Ravens. So, and Devin Duvernay, let's see, is Duvernay going to play? Duvernay made the Pro Bowl roster. Yeah, Duvernay is not hurt, so he's going to play. And Mark Andrews, you got to have somebody who can deal with Mark Andrews because he's the favorite receiver of both Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley. So some things you got to look at. Now, what the Falcons were successful at doing last week, and one of the things that got them back into the game against the Saints last week, was being able to run the ball as effectively as they did. As I say, Tyler Algier really just first time over 100 yards as a running back. But the Ravens are third in the NFL in yards per carry allowed on defense. They only allow 3.8 yards per carry. Going to be rougher for Tyler Algier to make inroads on the running game this year. And one of the problems with Algier is even when he does break through the line, he is not a fast running back. You saw that last week when Tyrann Mathieu was able to run him down from behind. Again, another weakness in Algier's game, probably something the Falcons are going to have to look at in the offseason, is finding a running back who has burst. Somebody who can make it, when he gets through the line, can actually outrun a defensive back. Algier just isn't that guy, but he will get you yards. Algiers a kind of guy who, if you need 2 yards, 3 yards, third down, he's going to get it for you. And that's an effective weapon to have going forward. And that's something that Atlanta fans have to look forward to going forward. As far as, let's take a look at, Christmas Eve. And again, I do want to say, everyone, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody has a great holiday. Hope you're spending time with family. But we're at a point where the Falcons are technically in the playoff hunt. Realistically, not in the playoff hunt. They have no tiebreakers at all in the division. And pretty much this is it. We've seen everything we're going to see out of the Falcons this year. What do you want to see? What do you want to see Santa bring down the chimney for your Atlanta Falcons next week? Tonight. I'm sorry. The show seems to be driving into a lot of walls today. But what do you want to see if the Falcons? What do you want for Christmas for the Atlanta Falcons? I want to see some comments laid up. I want to see what you want to see. One thing I want to see is deeper receiving group because obviously, as I said, Arthur Smith has run out of confidence in the bottom part of, the depth of his receiving group. You need a running back who has burst, who can get through the line and make a play, as I say, outrun a defensive back. So I definitely want to see that as far as offense. And hopefully we see enough out of Ritter that, it makes Terry Fontenot's decision this offseason, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith's decision this offseason to look at things and say, we can move forward with Ritter at quarterback. Let's hope we do get that because we really do need to see if Ritter can move forward at quarterback. Unfortunately, he's only getting 4 games, and we talked about that earlier. Should have had 6 games, but can't cry about that. He's, Arthur Smith has done what he felt he had to do. He's the coach. His decision, I don't agree with his decision, but again, with the season the way it is, the Falcons get to play Arizona next week. They get to finish out the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You want to see Santa bring the Falcons a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers led by a depleted Tom Brady and actually see the Falcons finish off the season on an up note and feel good and take advantage of the fact that Brady's not playing like Tom Brady anymore. And this might be it for Tom Brady. It looks like age might have finally caught up with the guy who a lot of people want to say is the greatest of all time. I will give Peyton Manning that nod, but that depends. So, what do you want to see out of the Falcons? What do you want to see get better about the Falcons? We've seen plenty of Falcons football. We've seen what this team can do, what they can't do, and what are you looking for Christmas? What's your Christmas wish for this Falcons team? I'm going to go into our love-loathe segment. And as I say, last week, or 2 weeks ago, one of Dave's loves was last week. I'm sorry. Last week, one of Dave's loves was Saturday NFL games, which is fun. You get the college season is over. I know everybody loves the college football season, but the college season's over. Now you get a chance to see the NFL take over on Saturdays with a couple of games. Well, you have 11 games. So football fans, NFL fans, don't just love this weekend. They're going to go crazy this weekend. This is a huge weekend because we got 11 Saturday games that are going to be played today. And let's see. We have a couple that are going to be important. Detroit Lions are going to play the Carolina Panthers. The Lions are making a playoff push. So don't be surprised if the Lions come out strong in that game. The Buffalo Bills are going to be playing in Bears weather here in Chicago. The problem is this is also Buffalo Bills weather. It's cold. And this is not going to phase Josh Allen. So not looking forward to a lot of positives out of that game as a Bears fan. But you have the Seahawks at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be trying to drive the Seahawks back out of the out of their wild card playoff chase. The Seahawks held on for quite a while. Looked like they were a solid wild card contender, starting to fade. So we'll see how that goes. Bengals are playing the Patriots, and this is important for the Ravens. What the Ravens need is to stay within one game of the Cincinnati Bengals heading into the last week of the season, because they play Cincinnati. Cincinnati is ahead in the AFC North and are going to play the Ravens the final week of the season. Ravens do have the tiebreaker. So if the Ravens can stay within one game of Cincinnati and win, then you never know. It's going to be an AFC North championship game, week 18, the final game of the season. And we have a couple of comments. Finally, it's nice to see that fans are getting into the show. Todd, Merry Christmas to you too. As I say, Merry Christmas to all our audience today. Do you want to see Ritter as quarterback going forward, Todd asks? Hard to say. I want to see what Ritter does to improve. I don't know if we're going to get a clear read on Ritter before the season's over. He's only got a 4-game audition to be the starting quarterback next season. That's rough to see. And I'm not sure we're going to see enough out of Ritter in these last 4 games to be able to make a decision. There's Bogey. Bogey wants to say hi. So, my boy cat. So, Bogey, you want to say something about about Desmond Ritter? No, you just want to get petted. Okay. So, but I do want to see improvement out of Ritter. I want to see improvement out of his accuracy. I want to see improvement on his reads. As I say, he almost threw an interception right into the gut of Alante Taylor, and really, as I say, missed his read on that. Did not see Taylor waiting for the football. So I want to see more positives out of Ritter this game. He showed his legs, showed that he does have escapability. I want to see more of what he can do. I want to see more accuracy out of him. I want to see a little less happy feet as far as staying in the pocket, having a little more faith in what his offensive line is giving him. Todd says, last question, is Coach Smith our coach after next year? Blank is important. Yeah, I think Coach Smith is definitely there. There's no hot seat under Coach Smith. He's definitely going to be here next year. I think Falcons, Terry Fontenot, Arthur Blank do have Blank is impatient. Yes, I know that, but I do think that the Falcons have made a couple strides this year, without a lot of advantages going into the season. Remember, this Falcons team has so much salary cap problems going into the year. One of the worst in the year as far as being in a hole as far as the salary cap. They didn't have a lot to work with as far as bringing in some quality players. And that's another reason why I think we're not going to see as much as we want to see out of Desmond Ridder, because he doesn't have the receivers to really make an impression the way this is played out, the way this roster is played out. So I just want to see more accuracy out of Ridder. I want to see better reading out of Ridder as far as going back and not being as fidgety in the pocket, knowing that he has a little time to go ahead and make a play. And he, as I say, he admitted that he was too quick in the pocket last week. And this is something I want to see out of him tomorrow. But yeah, Coach Smith is definitely there. This is not his fault. Next year, depending on the roster that Falcons can build in free agency and in the draft, and they're going to have plenty of money in free agency. I don't want to see them spending big money on players, but they are going to have plenty of money in free agency. So I do want to see them, I want to see a deeper roster that they can take advantage of. If Smith can't make a go of it with a deeper roster that he's going to have next year, then yeah, his seat's going to be plenty hot. So don't worry about that. So one of the things, as I said, we got a lot of Saturday games. We're going to get you off the show into the Saturday games as soon as we can. Another thing, loathe from this last week, Chris Lindstrom was named to the Pro Bowl. Offensive guard Chris Lindstrom. And you got to be happy about that. A real positive for the Falcons offensive line. Something that we've been waiting to see for a while. Somebody who can come through besides Jake Matthews and, during his Pro Bowl days and say, this is somebody we can plug in at guard and be strong with for the next few years. You have a building block there on your offensive line that you can build around. And that was great to see that Chris Lindstrom has enough respect around the league, among fans, and has enough respect among his fellow players that he was able to do what, be able to get voted into the Pro Bowl. Now, again, Todd also has another. Let's see. Yeah, Jake has been in decline. Yeah, definitely. And that's going to be a problem. There's so many holes to fill on this team. That's why I say they're going to have to be judicious about how they spend all this salary cap money going into next year. One of the things I loathed about last week, keep Felipe Franks off the field. There is no reason for Felipe Franks to be on the field with the Falcons in any capacity. I don't care if you're running the option with him. All right, Felipe Franks is not Taysom Hill. With Taysom Hill, you at least have to respect the pass a little bit. Hill is not the best passer, not a great passer, but he can throw the ball. Franks cannot do that. The option play that Smith called up last week, and if anything was going to put him on the hot seat, that was an awful play, especially since, as I said, the Saints don't respect your wide receivers. Lining up Ridder on the right side, as in the wide receiver position, off the line, then have Franks take the snap, toss to Patterson. Patterson tosses to Hill. Hill's got nobody to throw to. Nobody was fooled. Nobody cared. They saw Hill lined up outside on the right, and they said, who are you trying to fool, Arthur Smith? You're not fooling us, because it was fairly obvious. What was Ridder going to do? Throw a block for Patterson? Everybody knew the ball was going into Ridder's hands, and the Saints knew it. So, again, getting cute. And Felipe Franks is not the guy you need out there to get cute with. He's on the roster. He's rostered as a tight end. I don't know why he's rostered as a tight end. He can't catch. He's an athlete. But as I've said a lot, great athletes don't always make great football players. And this is a problem. And I know Arthur Smith wants to think that he has his own answer to Taysom Hill, that he can use as his Swiss Army knife every now and then in the game. Felipe Franks is not that guy. Just one of the things I loathed from last week. Another thing I loathe, Matt Ryan is getting benched for the second time this season. Last week, that big 33-point comeback by the Minnesota Vikings against the Colts, that was not Ryan's fault. A lot to blame. Ryan was inaccurate. There was problems, but there was a lot more blame to pass around than just Matt Ryan. Nick Foles is going to start this week for the Colts, and I'm not happy about it. And I think Ryan has not been treated well. This is going to be the end of his career. I don't think the Colts' chances of winning are any better with Nick Foles as a quarterback than Matt Ryan. You still got a lot of other problems out there. The Colts are another team without a wide receiver that is, without a reliable and deep wide receiver set. And that's one of the problems for Ryan this year. But the Colts are going to face. Colts are facing the Chargers on a Monday night. Nick Foles is going to start. No, I don't think so. The Chargers are running for a playoff spot. I don't like it. So, unfortunately, this is it for Matt Ryan. But he's going out. It's not really a great way to go out. He's losing a lot of the shine has gone off his game this year in Indianapolis, which is unfortunate. So now we come up on the show. Time for Nostradamus Predicts. Nostradamus has not had a very good season. This has not been an easy season to get a good read on. Excuse me. Not been an easy season to get a good read on. It's been rough. And Nostradamus has not had a good season. Usually I'm above 500 when it comes to picking against the spread. I'm not going to be over 500 when picking against the spread this year. However, I think I got a couple of good games for you to look at. And coming up right now, as I said, the Lions are making a playoff push. They are coming on. They are, let's see where they are right now heading into this weekend. Call that up right here. And this is why it's so nice to have Dave here, because he can do things that I cannot do as host of the show. But Lions are 7-7. They're tied with Seahawks for the 8th seed in the NFC, and kind of putting the pressure on the Washington Commanders and New York Giants. I think the Lions are -2. They're giving away 2 points against the Panthers this weekend. Take the Lions because the Lions are playing strong football. Their running game is working out with DeMarcus Ware. They're playing tough defense. This is a team that is on the rise. I actually think the Lions are going to fight their way into the playoffs this year. I think they're going to fight their way in as a wild card. So go ahead and take the Lions -2 over the Panthers. I think it's a good bet. One that's probably going to surprise you is take the Patriots. Patriots are playing the Bengals this week. The Bengals have been on a hot streak to put themselves in first place in the AFC North. And the Patriots look bad losing to the Raiders last week on Sunday night, 30-24. And a lot of grumbling in New England as far as Bill Belichick. And a lot of Patriots fans are starting to think that maybe it's time for Belichick after 20 years to kind of check out of the head coaching spot and start rebuilding with another head coach. Good possibility. However, this Patriots team still plays solid defense. Still has Ramondre Harris as far as running back. They can run the ball strong. Ramondre Stevens as far as running back. Damian Harris is also a strong running back. Mac Jones has played decent, has not set the world on fire. But you're catching the Bengals at a weird week because the Bengals are looking at the Buffalo Bills next week in prime time. And that's going to be, that is a headline game. Everybody's going to be watching that game. That game is going to tell us a lot about the Bills. The Bengals still have a chance at the number one seed in the conference. I'm not so sure that the Patriots beat the Bengals. However, I think giving the Patriots 3 points against the Bengals might be too much. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think the Bengals will win, but I think the Patriots +3 are going to cover this thing. It's a tough game to look at. As I say, you got the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills are fighting for the top seed in the AFC. So Bills are going to be playing tough. Bills are going to go into next week. They're going to be looking at next week. The Bills aren't totally concentrating on the Bears today. So, and I said last week, take the Bears +9 against Philadelphia Eagles because I figured the Eagles were looking ahead to this week, or were looking ahead to their game against the Cowboys. You might want to take, let's see, where's the spread for this one? The Bears are being given 8 points against the Buffalo Bills. You might want to take the Bears there. Bills are going to be looking for next week's game too. And Justin Fields does a lot of incredible work with the football. Brian Friedman is kind of looking at it the way I think we're all looking at it today. Gotta love today's slate of freezing cold games with wind. Yep, you got it. This is it. This is December football at its best. Brian, it doesn't, as I say, this is where we're at. So you have the Bengals and you have the Bills looking forward to a primetime matchup next week. You might want to take the Bears +8. I'm not guaranteeing, I'm not giving that as one of my predictions, but I was right about saying take the Bears and the points against Philadelphia because, I know Philadelphia was kind of looking ahead to this game against the Cowboys in AT&T Stadium. So it's going to be a good one. Last pick for today. It'll be a rough game today. I'm saying Dolphins, take the Dolphins -3.5 against a struggling Packers team. Packers did play well last week. But the Packers are 6-8. They're out of the playoff picture of essentially. Played well against the Rams, but that's not really an endorsement. The Rams are not playing well this year. Aaron Rodgers has not been able to make things work with the receivers that he has this season. They don't use Aaron Jones enough as at running back to to as far as I can see, being a Bears fan and keeping an eye on the Packers, I don't think they do a good job of using. I don't think Matt LaFleur does a good job of using Aaron Jones. So I think that the Dolphins, again, another team that is looking for a wild card slot. They are currently holding on at 8-6. They are the 7th seed in the AFC. I think they beat the Packers today. I think they beat the Packers by more than 3. I like that Dolphins offense against the Packers defense. And let's go look at it. So there's your 3 games. We have the Dolphins -3, Patriots +3 versus the Bengals, Lions -2 against the Panthers. And now heading into Prize Picks. Prize Picks for today. Again, Prize Picks is the sponsor of the show. Give the promo code ASU. They will match up to $100 of your first deposit. So if you want to throw $100 in as your first deposit, they will add $100 to your account. You can start playing right now with $200. And they have plenty of options as far as ways to bet, ways to get you in. As a matter of fact, you still have time to get into Prize Picks for today's games. So if you're looking at doing it, do it now. Sign in, sign up, use the promo code ASU, and that supports this show. That supports Dave and I. Doesn't put food on our table, I'm sorry, but it does support us and helps the channel. So what I have for you today, I got 3 picks. First, Tyler Algier is at 56.5 rushing yards. I think he breaks that. I think Algier's on the way up, and I think the Atlanta offense is going to be depending on Tyler Algier today. So I think he definitely gets at least 80 yards today on the ground. He's going to get the ball plenty. Desmond Ridder is going to get a chance to complete some passes. He's going to get a good look, but that offense moved when Algier was getting the ball last week. So look for Tyler Algier to get over 56.5 rushing yards. Dalvin Cook, 77.5 rushing yards today. Dalvin Cook, the Vikings are playing. Let's see. Let's call that game up real quick. Vikings are playing the New York Giants. So the Giants, you can run the ball against. You can run the ball successfully against. So I do like Dalvin Cook, 77.5 rushing yards. Miami game is tomorrow. Well, so what? You can put a parlay on for 2 games, for 3 games on 2 days. It doesn't matter. J.K. Dobbins prop, that's a good one. J.K. Dobbins, where is he here? 68.5 yards against the Falcons. So that's going to be an interesting one to look at. My third prize pick, though, I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon, Kansas City Chiefs, 21.5 receiving yards. I think he's been getting a lot of attention from Patrick Mahomes, and I think you're going to see Jerick McKinnon get some opportunities in the passing game today in Kansas City against the Seattle Seahawks. So, again, Tyler Algier, plus 56.5. Dalvin Cook, plus 77.5 rushing yards. Jerick McKinnon, plus 21.5 receiving yards. Brian Friedman says over the 68 yards for Dobbins. He likes that. I'm going to hold you to that, Brian. I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to come back next week. I want to see, I'm going to keep an eye on that one. And again, Master Thomas predicts we have the Miami Dolphins +3. We got the Patriots +3 against the Bengals. Lions -2 against the Panthers. So, as I say, we're going to get you out of the show and get you to today's kickoffs. coming up in 5 minutes. It's been a pleasure being here for you on Saturday morning, on Christmas Eve morning. Wonderful holidays to all of you in the audience, to everybody and everybody who catches the rebroadcast, catches the show during the week. I wish a Merry Christmas and very happy holidays to everyone. And I do greatly appreciate all of you spending an hour of your Saturday morning with me here on Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Very much appreciated. I do not take for granted the fact that we have a lot of solid fans. We have a lot of people who like to listen to the show every week. And I do appreciate that. And I know Dave does too. So everybody take care. 5 minutes to kickoff. Get all your snacks, get your pizzas, get everything going. We are getting ready for kickoff. Everyone have a great week and a great holiday.